because actually, kind of my beautiful audience, they already know that when I start podcast, it's not like, okay, hello, we already, it kind of maybe energy already people felt that it have been already started, and these guys, they already on their vibe, and it's so cool because it's so alive, and it's the power of storytelling. So yes, we have already my beautiful guest today. We have started, but because he's already delivering the brilliant gems in my passionate subject, I don't want you guys to miss it. That's why I need to press the button. But anyway, welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer. Today, my episode, I love making a title. Sometimes I think it's very cool to have not just number of episodes, but also a little bit title, or maybe I'm kind of nerdy. This is my OCD, I don't know. But anyway, this title for our episode today is Unlocking Potential with Rob Edwards, Neurodivergence, DEI, backlash in US, we know, and building inclusive communities. And I am so privileged and honored to have you today with us. Welcome to the show. And in this powerful episode of Diversity is the Game Changer, we welcome Rob, which I have already mentioned, an inspiring mental health change agent, advocate, motivational speaker, and CEO of the Neurodiversity and Entrepreneurship Association. Rob is also a prominent figure in the neurodiversity and community group, different groups, many groups, I know, and has collaborated with numerous impactful organizations dedicated to advancing neurodivergent voices in society. So today, Rob brings a wealth of experience and insight to discuss the intersections of neurodivergence, inclusion, of course, and community building. Was I correct?
Yes. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, no pressure.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Really, really honor for me, because I have already asked him, like, oh, okay, like, I'm kind of spy. Like, Rob, is it true that you're collaborating with Stanford, like neurodiversity project? And we know Stanford is like creme de la creme. Because he's like, yes, he's so shy, but he's yes, and I did, they invite me, and then now, because I know how difficult to get through there. But the secret is actually your name, my darling. I have been stolen from there. Yes, exactly. That's why when it was kind of leading question, I was like, is it true? I said, yes, of course it's true, because how I could find out your name, because I found about them, and I contacted Dr. Lawrence, right? And yes, you know him, and we had very pleasant conversation, and then, of course, I'm following their social media, and they are sending emails about these special meetings, right? And you were one of them. And I said, oh my God, this is brilliant brain. I have to steal him. So I was immediately went to LinkedIn, found you, and sent along the request. And I was so happy when you were so initiative. Yes, Valeria, I'm into. So thank you so much.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes. Amazing. So because I'm neurodivergent, maybe not much part I'm devoting, because we need really to eat your brain today, because people, maybe audience who are watching my pad, they know already, and they even know that the idea of the podcast, it came to me. Okay, it came before, but like really I have to do something while I had this severe OCD episode last fall, and last week's of my treatment, I actually decided to make, and I came with name, and so I'm so happy that now you and me, we have more and more platforms where we can share our knowledge and raise awareness, because it's so important, right? It's so important. 35%, maybe no more, now you will be sharing the information how much population really are neurodivergent. We all in of course in this certain level, but I mean, like, really, like, who actually has needs special service, community service, and everything. But before all that, of course, we know childhood plays a crucial role in shaping our lives, right? Childhood, and particularly life of neurodivergent people and kids, and from developing coping strategies to navigating a world that is not always actually designed for them or for me, like me. Childhood influences can have a lasting impact, we all know. But before all that, your advocacy, I would love to start with your childhood, the childhood of little Robbie. Tell us about this boy. Yes, open this beautiful, I know, childhood. Anyway, even mine was painful, still very beautiful, because we still believe in I still believe in magic even now, but like even not concerning. I loved magic and still and fairy tales. So your childhood, please.
Okay.
Well, there.
So I was listening to another episode that you did, and you said that you'd grown up in a fairly small village as well. And you were talking to your guest, and he had also grown up in something similar. So I'm the same. So I grew up in the middle of Wales, in this really tiny little village. It was sort of 2 main streets, and everybody.
Two, you said two, not one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was huge, huge. And we knew everybody, so it was a really sort of safe environment to grow up in, and just really nice to know all of the families who were there and all the kids and that sort of thing. So it was, a really sort of a safe place, as I say, to grow up. And in terms of neurodiversity, I at the time didn't really think about why I was behaving the way I was. Looking back now, I grew up thinking that I was just a bit lazy, and that I just didn't get things done. I had all these ideas whizzing around my head, but actually putting them into practice was a real struggle. So looking back now, I can see that I was trying really hard to keep everybody happy and huge people pleaser, and not wanting to rock the boat or to sort of upset anything. And I think that that's taken so many years of sort of unpacking and thinking about. But I did lots of acting, so loads of drama and loads of amateur dramatics. So I still do that as well. But that was just the best thing that I wanted to do, because I just loved things that we did in school, drama and concerts. And then when I got a bit older, I joined a youth theatre, and we did, productions, and we toured. We had trips to Sweden and to various places in the UK as well. And just to be part of that group and that sort of collective when you're relying on other people to get something delivered, I just think that was fantastic training for running my own business, but also for later life as well. So it was a really happy sort of escape, I suppose.
Amazing. It's like patterns. I believe we people who like we believe that we're a little bit different or something. But I also can rely that we are kind of creative, right? Not maybe, I don't know about it, but not maybe very like structure and focus about, but the creative, it's kind of also the way to escape a little bit and to find this safe place, because imagination, like mine, like, okay, I said, okay, maybe here I'm not good enough, but in my imaginational world and all this stuff. And then, like you said, and community is very important, and you have to find the group where you feel belonging, right? If it's not school, for me it was not school. So, and it's very important then, I believe, to have like unwavering support of the parents and family. How was it in your case when you were a kid? You had it, I hope.
Yeah, so we lived, like, I don't know, quite a long way away from the nearest town. So all of the drama that I went to, and my brother was in other clubs and societies. So my parents would taxi us backwards and forwards. So they were really invested, and they did a lot to support us in what we wanted to do. And it was, again, a really sort of happy time. And we just felt that we had that sort of support from them in what we wanted to do, which was lovely. And they'd sit there through all of the student productions that we were in and all of the theatre things, and would always show up for us, which was really appreciative of.
Amazing. I think it's so important, because like you said, the safe environment is so important for kids, especially for kids with special needs, because that's why I also chose, I have adopted 2 kids, and they have special needs, and especially one of them has very special traits. And actually, I decided to move back from Oslo, which is bigger city, Trondheim, because it's smaller and it's more secure environment. It's not that much pressure on Michelle. Her name is Michelle.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have like environment which is better for neurodivergent kids. But what would you say, like, from your opinion, actually, if kids, like, they feel kind of something different, but what if they actually are not that likely to be in the environment who is really support, like, what can we from our place, now we are grown-ups, maybe we can give some advices to them, maybe teenagers who actually even has not much understanding from their siblings or parents, what kind of thing you because my kids, like, I believe they're happy because they have me and I know what it is, right?
Yeah.
And you were so happy because you had this safe environment and parents, but what you and me today could actually say to them who maybe somehow actually can hear us, maybe, okay, this age they don't hear maybe podcast, but maybe parents, maybe sisters, maybe brothers, they suddenly hear, what could you, how we can encourage them, how we can tell them that they have to show up and believe that they're unique, they're not flaws, they're unique. What would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I just think going back to that piece about community, I just think for all of the talk about social media and accessing, other groups, it is fantastic to be able to reach out. And if you're not getting that support at home or in your own family network, then so many people who you can follow or you can reach out to. And so many different organizations now as well around neurodiversity. So I do feel like we've been running the NEA now for about 2 years, but conversations before went on for years and years, and at the time, I don't think there were that many places to go to be able to share your stories and to find out, you want to know that you're not on your own, don't you? You want to know that you are part of a community. And as you said at the start, you're looking at least, a fifth of the population worldwide. So it's a huge community. It's a huge tribe of people. And I think that, these days, it's just a lot easier to be able to access that sort of information. And the more that people like us say that, it is a normal part of being human and it gives you great benefits, it can give you great advantages, and again, working out that balance, I think, is the important piece, because there's obviously sort of downsides or challenges or obstacles that a lot of other people don't have. But for me anyway, I think in terms of how that balance works, I think the benefits just outweigh a lot of the difficulties. And I know that I speak from, my experience as having being someone with ADHD, and it's very different from other people who have ADHD. But I do feel that, it does give me a lot to be grateful for. And I know since I've started doing a lot of this work as well, being part of that bigger community of people who are talking much more about neurodiversity, it's a really welcoming group, and a very sort of tight-knit group. And I think people are happy to share their experiences.
Yes, what a brilliant perspective. And to be clear, so because you started explaining the childhood that you felt a little bit, but so you, if I understood right, so you have an ADHD, neurodivergence, right?
Yeah.
You have, okay,
Yeah.
because now, but I have OCD and you have ADHD. Okay, so yes, this is brilliant. So that's actually basically we can summarize me and Rob saying that, please, now it's true, it's social media. Yes, social media, it's, of course, we can talk agelessly how much harm there is, but still it's like about any type of tool and weapon, it's how you would like to use it. So, but please, even type like neurodiversity community, where to apply, where I can go, where we can gather together. Is so much information now, it's much freely to talk about, because when you know how even call this information, like vocabulary, so it's so important how we talk to each other, right? Because self-critical talk, like I'm not good enough, not that, but I'm neurodivergent. It's like, okay, cool, what is it? It's even like, because for me, I've been there so many years, or I've lived like this, but I didn't know this actually not simple but complex world terminology that now have changed all my life last half a year.
Yeah.
Because it was always like not good enough, weak, disorder, disabilities, depression, not good, broke, not whole, everything, like, and you implant like really like, 13, 14 years. And then suddenly I was like, no.
Yeah.
So for me, it's interesting. You said them, but how and when did you discover actually that you are neurodivergent, and it's actually can be brilliantly wrapped like this, not like not that enough or anti something, but
Yeah.
unique divergent. How was your personal adventure in this path?
So it goes back to our son Jake when he was 4. So he got his autism diagnosis, and that he's now coming up to 13, so a fair while ago. And that just took us into wanting to read as much as we possibly could about autism and about neurodiversity. And my background is in academic publishing, and I ended up working a lot around enterprise and entrepreneurship. So I wanted to see where that sort of crossover bit was. So where entrepreneurship and business owners came together with the neurodiversity side of things. I couldn't really find much that was out there, so hence the NEA that we then set up. But as I was talking more and more to neurodivergent business owners, I started off at the beginning of the project thinking that I was neurotypical, so I didn't think that I was neurodivergent.
Oh.
I thought I would. It was a really interesting area for me to look at. And then the more conversations I had with people who had ADHD or who were autistic or dyspraxic or dyslexic, who were running businesses, like so many things were sort of ringing in my head. I was just like, oh yeah, I do that. Yeah, that sounds really familiar. And basically our family went like dominoes. So my wife has her ADHD diagnosis. I have mine. Our eldest daughter also has an ADHD diagnosis. Beth is currently being reviewed for an autism assessment as well. So we're a real sort of a mixture of a neurodivergent family. But for me personally, I got my diagnosis about 3 years ago now, 3.5 years. And I think the bit that's sort of the biggest lesson for me is how it's made me kinder to myself. So as you were saying, it's that sort of self-critical voice all the time that holds you back, from life, obviously, from relationships, but in that sort of business context as well, in running your own business, thinking that, someone else will be much better at this than me. That huge imposter syndrome and that sort of fear of rejection. And I think that when you start to hear other people's stories, we were talking about stories and things to start with. When you start to hear other people's stories and start thinking, yeah, okay, so we do have these, I'm not on my own feeling this heightened level of being an imposter, or that I shouldn't be running a business, that I shouldn't be doing talks like this. And I think it puts it into perspective, into a bit of context. So I've definitely been much kinder to myself, I think, over the last 3.5 years.
Yes, amazing. For me, it's like just I changed kind of my not just lens, like I was looking at me with one kind of perspective or glasses, but basically I took them off, and now, but it's very challenging. It's like practice, right? Because our brain is used to, of course, to choose the easiest way, and it's already highways in your brain of so many years that you were thinking like that about yourself, and start like changing to small roads of that. No, I'm not like that, I'm like this. But then even like in the nature road, you have, I don't know how many people or times you have to tap on this road that it's a little bit bigger. So it's, I think the most also important to give the message to people, like it's practice and it's patience. It's just not give up, because yes, sometimes to know about tool like you and me, but to use it, it's challenging. But you have to use it every single day. It's like, now I like meditate 2 times per day, morning and evening. But the most important, even when I'm still in my bed, like, I start deliberately, I like forcing myself to talk positively about myself, like at least 3, 4, 5 things about gratitude, but also including why I am not just good enough. I don't like this good enough. Good enough for whom? But like really even more, not acceptance, but celebrating. Like,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm of myself. In the beginning, it was my, I couldn't even pronounce this for my brain, and it was so funny because it was some kind of exercises from Louis Hay to come to the mirror and said that just to watch yourself. Said I love it. I was like, what? Because when I talk to people, said no, I don't know. Have you tried actually
No,
once?
God, no, I'm British. I mean, you can't even begin to imagine how hard that would be.
Right? So for me, when I just yes, I was like, what? No, I made in Soviet. I always was put in my head that like no, you're just one part of the mass, not mass, but okay, mass, and you cannot be really like one of the kind of individual that and it's like it was shameful to love yourself. It's shameful to be proud. You should be like
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
I
Keep
think it's
yourself small.
religion. Our
Mm.
religion, you should not be invisible. You should really, so okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm also, I'm not good. I'm not listener, and podcast. I really like put sometimes cross here like Valeria. You actually not the hero of the show. So like this. So now again back to you. Okay, so we spoke about childhood and then about your education and career, because you said 3 years ago, like you got your diagnosis, right? But you were kind of always very interested in that part, right? And
Mm.
and now you have business which you actually help people, right, with neurodivergence. Can you tell us about actually how you came to your advocacy at that level, professional level, and actually what you guys do, what your mission, vision, and I'm sure you're helping a lot of people. Then we can spread the message.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe you can be a role model for other people in other country, or they can grow your business. So please tell us about this professional part now.
Yeah. So it's, where shall I start? So as I say, when I was a publisher, I ended up doing a lot of publishing around enterprise and entrepreneurship and small business,
Mm-hmm.
and started to think, particularly with our own family experience of the kids, and then of us, sort of what was available in terms of the support or the groups for people who were neurodivergent but were also running their own business or thinking about it, like me. And I couldn't really find much that was out there. So there was a lot of sort of business growth programs and things, but nothing that was specifically specialized, that was for people who were neurodivergent. And so, typical ADHD, I hurled myself into the gap and decided to set up the association.
Mm-hmm.
And we have sort of three main pieces, I suppose. So the one is working with neurodivergent business owners and entrepreneurs, or people who perhaps have got a business idea, but they're not sure how to get it completed, to get it up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And then we work with academic researchers as well. So
Mm-hmm.
increasingly, there's more being published in the area. There's more research going on about that sort of balance. Again, that sort of idea of these benefits that neurodivergent qualities can bring to a business, and also the downside, the challenges as well. So things like overwhelm, things like imposter syndrome, which seem to be heightened. So we organize events and we bring academics together. Starting my own PhD in the area in the autumn, hopefully, if the funding comes through. So it's always been an area that I've really been fascinated by. And the aim of the NEA is then to bring a lot of that academic research into practice. So into the highlights of it for people who are running businesses who would find it useful. And then the third bit is basically getting policy, getting government action in terms of what that support looks like. So I do think that, like in the UK, for example, a lot of business support that's offered by the government and by local authorities is free to the people who are using it. So I think people are just sort of, making do with the free programs that are available. But I think in some cases, it's not letting them really shine and really get that level of support from neurodivergent work coaches, from other neurodivergent business owners. So I think that idea of the community that is growing in this area, I think that needs proper support, really. So that's obviously where the association will hopefully then fit in, and we start to look at how we can get that not just in the UK but also overseas as well, and really look at how we can make this a global change, because I just think it's so important. I think, running a business and being self-employed is quite a lonely, difficult road to go down. And I think especially if you're neurodivergent and you lay some of those complexities over the top, then I think it is an area where people do need support. They need somewhere to go. As we were saying before, you need to know that you're part of a community and you're part of a tribe.
Yes, amazing, because you see sometimes to be a role model, it's one thing you can share awareness and talk about, but you actually are walking this path, you are living that, and you facing all these challenges yourself. And then it's like me, like if you really can share my knowledge, because I've been experiencing so much pain, so if I can spare one even person from that, so why should I be silent? I get that and that and that, right? And
yeah, definitely. Like with our business, before running the NEA, I've also been running my own business with my wife for about 12 years now. And as I was talking to people about the NEA, there's one conversation that sticks in my head with somebody whose opinion I really value, who's part of the community. And the feedback that I got, it was the tiniest piece that might be looked on as criticism or something that I needed to focus on. And that put me back by about 6 months, I think, in terms of getting the NEA up and running and launching. And a lot of it just plays into that feeling that you're not enough, that somehow all the way through school and all the way through, college, university and work, you've always felt like you were lacking a little bit. And it normally takes just the tiniest little bit of criticism for all of that to start again. And, if I can share that experience with other neurodivergent business owners and just let them know, that it's part of the process and, it's not a reflection on you and what you're able to do, then I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, because you're seeing a lot of things. If you kind of get one idea, like with me, and it's stuck in your head, and it eats all your energy, and sometimes really even oh, you are not good enough, but still it's kind of battle all the time. It's you win your consciousness or this speciality wired, how your brain is wired. So yes, it's so important to support each other. Say yes, the part of the process, it's also normal, and it's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's just about even one day, it's tiny step, but even being kind with yourself and say, I'm doing my best today. Yes, it's the most important. Yes, today I can't, maybe I had this plan to do, but today I know I can't all this stuff, but I will not be harsh with myself to do. I'm proud of myself because today I'm doing my best. Maybe tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, and I think knowing that is just a sort of a blip in your journey. It's a tiny little bit of your journey. And to know that there are other factors at play as well, so it might be overwhelm and it might be that sort of fear of failure and that perfectionism, that I think if you can know that other people have gone through that as well and are going through it, then I think that's really useful, isn't it? It just gives you that little bit of perspective. It's easy to say, I know, because I've had days where I'm so overwhelmed that I just can't fit anything else in my head, and for years I just thought, oh, it's me, I'm not cut out to be a business owner. But as I say, being kinder to myself now, I just think, okay, well, there's other things going on,
Yes, exactly. And for me also was kind of big invention for myself, that so many years I've been living that by identified who I am by my thoughts, but emotion, thoughts and everything, it's not constant. It's fleeting, right? It's actually, I found out about that 2 years ago when I started practicing yoga and meditation. And it's also about practicing every single day, even a couple of minutes. But it's true that all that they fluctuate. They fleet, right? Because one day you can feel like that, your thoughts can be like that, but it's true. It's just kind of learning to detach and just to try to observe them. It's very simple kind of how it sounds, but in the beginning, yes, it's like, what do you mean that? And for me, like, I'm OCD, and all these thoughts, they are especially so, like, screwing. They try, sometimes are so perverse, or sometimes like this, like your brain really wants you to expose, like, okay, maybe this you can just observe, but this thought should really kill and your energy, and you start being involved in. It's the key, right? So, and maybe ADHD as well, I think it's always also very complex, like, I'm sure I have also a little bit of that and that. So, but yes, again, like, sometimes just to say, this is this day, okay, I just still write, like me now, I'm doing 3 things which still are very good. I can be grateful anytime we would like to focus that we lack something, then we will find. But anytime we want to see that I'm thankful, even I'm so happy I'm talking to you, and you're giving me the most precious commodity, your time, right? I'm so thankful. And then it's already completely different kind of energy, which already, so it's so important.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. About, yes, and you said you're helping people, neurodivergent business owners. How is it platforms? How they can find you, or you find them? How it works actually?
So it's been a bit of both, I suppose. So when we first started, we were lucky to get a grant of some money from the Combined Authority here in West Yorkshire, and we set up a program for 20 neurodivergent business owners, which was fantastic. It was over 9 months, and they got to work with our coaches who are also neurodivergent. So just sort of get a lot of the things that they were talking about. And we had group meetings, so we got the group together so they could share their experiences and learn from each other. And we provided mentors as well if people wanted them. So, people who had already set up businesses, people who were perhaps running their own as well at the same sort of level, same sort of time. So it was a fantastic, brilliant start to what we were doing with the NEA, and just the most creative bunch of people that you can ever imagine, like all these ideas, hundreds of ideas whizzing around the room. But knowing, we had an initial meeting, like an in-person meeting for the 20 people. And knowing for a lot of people that was such a challenge, they had to get on the train, they had to get into quite a busy city, they had to find us, they had to find the room, and even then it was quite sort of sensory overload. It's a hotel, so there were people everywhere and bright lights and everything, and knowing that people still did that because they believed in what we were trying to do, it was just such a huge positive in terms of knowing that this is needed and this is what we do need to do. So we did a bit of recruitment, so we advertised what we were doing and people come to us, and then in a lot of cases people it's word of mouth, and people find us. But I knowing myself as well, I have a work coach, so I meet with her, Claire, every month, and just having that accountability session is it's phenomenal. Like the impact on me and how I can prioritize what I'm doing and make sure that I've done what I said I would do the last month, because with my ADHD, I tend to have so many different projects and ideas, and I've got to about 80% with them. But working with Claire has enabled me to concentrate on, what needs doing. And I just wanted to share that experience with the people that we're working with as well. So it's just, it's brilliant. It's really cool.
Amazing, because when you said you have ADHD and your wife have ADHD, and now you mentioned you've been working 12 years together, I said, oh my God, I wanted to watch that.
I know.
Yeah,
we work really well together. So she's very much about the attention to detail, very much about loves the spreadsheet, whereas I'm just, let's do this amazing idea. We'll open up in Dubai, but without really working out the sort of details of it. I mean, it still happens, but we managed to work together really well.
Okay, amazing. I'm so happy to hear it. What is actually the subject of your PhD? Like, I understand neurodiversity, but the angle, how neurodiversity and like to implement, to impact and influence
Yeah.
work or business or inclusive environments. What is actually the
So
title?
it's around neurodiversity and entrepreneurship. So it's looking at the sort of assets, liabilities side of it. So all the great things and where those sort of overlaps are with a lot of neurodivergent qualities and entrepreneurial mindset qualities, of which there are loads. Creativity we've talked about, that sort of knack of being able to see gaps in markets where not other people can see.
Mm-hmm.
And determination and resilience, all those things that you need to run a business. But then also looking at the liabilities side of things as well. So looking at things like overwhelm and looking at things like that sort of heightened rejection sensitivity, which typifies a lot of neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to, again, 20, I don't know why 20, but 20 neurodivergent business owners, and doing interviews with them to look at their own experience, but then working with them on a sort of participatory method to be able to get them involved in what they think is the important themes coming out from all of these interviews and these conversations. So it's going to be very collaborative, and I'm hoping I can get it done over the 3 years, but I'd like to be able to have something that sort of looks at where they are now, looks at where they're going to be in 18 months, perhaps 2 years down the line. Because in terms of a lot of the academic research, we're missing that sort of longitudinal study.
Yeah.
So that will be really interesting. And also to look at, as you said, people might have a diagnosis of one neurodivergent condition, but we've seen that there's this idea of a spiky profile that Professor Amanda Kirby talks a lot about, and how you may have a diagnosis in one area, but there's also traits perhaps of other conditions, and again it's quite a sort of medical model approach, I suppose. Once you've met one person who's got ADHD, you've met one person who's got ADHD. So I think that looking at those stories and sharing case studies and sharing that experience, I think, is going to be really important. So I'm very keen, with my publishing background as well, to get the research out there as much as I possibly can as well, if I can get through the review process. But yeah, we'll see.
Wow, what amazing impact you are doing. I'm so proud. Me and you will like, we're sitting here, and I think I'm so happy that more and more people can obtain the proper knowledge about that and kind of approach that it's kind of new normal, right? That we are so different, and this is the beauty of that, like biodiversity. But we know it's still, unfortunately, in communities, in many groups, and in the work environments, it's still a lot of stigma, taboo, discrimination. It's still a lot of course, conscious biases. People like what would you say to those people, maybe who are kind of maybe assume they have something, but still they maybe not that brave enough to go, first of all, you should acknowledge yourself, right? Oi, maybe I'm that or that. And then next step, maybe it's up to every single person to share that or not. But to be identified, then like you said, it's one possibility actually to understand what's happened. But then it's how you can actually find the tools to help yourself, right? And it's about community services as well. But still many people, they're of course very afraid to share. And because like sometimes I'm asking, like talking with CEOs, and I said, okay, but when you go through recruiting processes, would you like a person when he or she meets for the interview said, but actually I have OCD or I'm neurodivergent? Are you starting being there that like you can look at it like something advantageable, or still like, okay, this is something, so it's still like that long way to go, right? Like, so, but for people, what would you advise maybe people who kind of just in the beginning of the road where you and me already, because like first of all, like you said, okay, you start noticing maybe you have something, but now the most support for yourself, you understood yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
actually at the end of the day to be okay with yourself well-being. I am ADHD or I'm OCD, I know that, and now I'm learning myself to celebrate shame and thrive with that. But we already there, but we have made this road, right? And many people still maybe they just kind of start maybe even hearing, oh, but maybe I'm different, but it's so scary to be different, right? And
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
we live in society that we should be kind of neurotypical normal.
Yeah.
What would you suggest them, how to approach, how not to be very even overwhelmed by thinking that oh, maybe I'm also like ADHD or OCD, like she said, or something?
Yeah, I think the big thing to take away is that it's not us that's broken, it's the systems and it's
Mm-hmm.
society, it's organizations. And I think depending on where you are in the world, that has such a huge impact on what the
Yeah.
conversation looks like around neurodiversity. I think in the UK, we're really lucky. Organizations are putting in programs to actually support neurodivergent employees and talent. And I know that's not the case in so many other countries.
Oh yeah.
But I think, if anyone is watching this or listening to this thinking, oh, perhaps I'm part of that gang, then I think just take away from this that you are part of a gang, and it is a community, and it is a tribe of people who know what you've been through, who know what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
It is just finding your people, so your group of people, and whether that's a local group to you, whether it's a social media group with participants from all over the world, you will be able to find people out there who can share their experience and make you feel that you're not on your own. I think that we see it with neurodiversity in organizations, don't we? There's still a lot of bias, still a lot of thinking that if we hire somebody who's autistic, then they're going to be able to suddenly revolutionize our finance system, because they've got all of these amazing qualities and advantages. And they probably will, but I think that to again put that extra pressure onto somebody who probably is already feeling quite a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
I think it's really again a delicate balance. And I think if you're working in an organization where you don't have that sort of support, or if you're a student and you don't feel that that is in place in your school or your college or your university, and I think that conversation has got much better, certainly since I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think, reach out elsewhere, find your tribe of people, because, they will be there. They'll be the people who are sharing their, creative stories on Instagram, or the people who are on, Facebook. People probably don't use Facebook now, do they? But, the stories are out there. And I think you perhaps just have to, find those people, find your tribe. And again, just know that you're not on your own as well, and it's up to you. It's very much a personal choice if you want a diagnosis, and I can totally understand the reasons why people don't want one, and I can see people do want a formal diagnosis, So again, it's very much, sort of finding your place and carving your way through it all.
Yeah, thank you. What a brilliant perspective. Because for me also, I think it's so important what you have repeated in me many times. Find your tribe, because then it's the simple understanding that what I didn't have many years ago, that you're not broken and you're totally not alone here. Oh my God. And
Yeah.
with this speed and stress level, which the political situation, I'm by the way from Ukraine, and everything's going on happen now, the biggest pandemic of our century now, it's COVID. Okay, not it's stress level, and we are not like machines, in good and bad ways. And of course our brain, the most important and undiscovered part still, right? So we have to understand that and to be kind to ourselves. And of course by storytelling, by short knowledge sharing, you can understand. You have a beautiful family, and like you said, yes, we're very creative. We
Yeah.
are we have sympathy, empathy to each other. So you can always, like, reach out to me. I'm always very open about that. And now when I post about our episode, you can always reach out to Rob, how I did. That's why we are talking today. So please do that. Welcome. And when you actually mention a spiky profile, because you're in London, right? Are you in London?
I'm in Yorkshire, so we're about 2.5 hours from London.
Okay.
North
Because
of
my
England.
podcast number 3, I believe it was the brilliant conversation. Maybe you heard about him because he was delivered a TED talk about neurodiversity. He lives in London. His name is Nathaniel, and now he's
So
forget. What did he say?
I'll have to find it. I don't think so.
I will send you the link because he has special. I love so much because you actually on the same mission. He has also special platforms. He's helping, and I'm sure you together can do brilliant things because he's in London, and I think they have also every Thursday like free webinars to neurodivergent persons and entrepreneurs, where I was also actually applying to be one of the speakers. So that's for sure, you can be speaker, and then where people can reach out to your company. And he's amazing guy. He's neurodivergent himself.
Yeah.
And of course he was told so many times in the childhood that he's broke and he's all that kind of stuff. But now he one of the family, the first in the family. He's here like to apply for university, and he got this neurodiversity also education, and do a lot of great stuff about neurodiversity. And he was on BBC, CNN. He's very, very active. I'm hiring him, so I connect you guys.
Cool.
Because his TED talk, he also referred to the spiky profile, and I love his TED talk. It's so funny. It's like with some pictures from childhood, but it's so amazing. Like you said, when you find your tribe, everything he's talking about, like 12 minutes or something, like, oh my God, how he knows my story.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know?
Like when we started talking today, there's that sort of shorthand, isn't there, where you sort of know that people have had the same sort of experience pretty much, and how you sort of feel like an outsider. You've always felt like probably really creative as well. You've lost yourself in that creative part. So yeah, you just sort of know, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Because he also has established his platform. Like I believe they call extraordinary videos or something. But I will definitely connect you guys, because we all together we are stronger, right? We can make so beautiful impact together.
Exactly.
So okay, my last question. It was very pleasant conversate with you, and this subject you and me are passionate about. We can just talk and talk and talk, but the audience, like in this busy life and this long to-do list, people don't listen when podcast one not too much. But I still believe in magic. Like I said, we start from childhood and dreams, imagination, and this is my biggest helper ever. This is Tough Beauty from the which fairy tale?
Aladdin.
Yes. And we still, of course, we do a lot, but we still kind of need dreams and fantasy and fairy tales. Otherwise, I don't know how could we actually save this world. So if this one, she's a little bit small to maybe make 3 wishes, because she wants to help everybody on our show. Yes, but one it's okay. So if I would ask you today, Rob, please, one wish you would make, big, small, I don't know, it doesn't matter, just one, so we could put here and she start working.
Oh, where would I start? Let me think. So I think it's about the tribe. So I think it's about, I wish everybody knew that there was this tribe, wherever they were in the world, that they knew that they were connected and that they were part of this bigger community of people who just get them, and that no one felt like they were on their own, and that they were weird, and that they didn't fit in, that there was something wrong with them. Because if if the lamp had worked when I was a teenager, it would have saved me so much heartache and so much, some really difficult times. So I think it would be that, just a small wish, obviously, but that's what I would wish for.
No, this is so profound that it's not about you, it's about these tribes, how to help each other. It's the most important. So I'm sure she will do her best for that.
Excellent.
So thank you so much, dear Rob, for sharing your valuable knowledge. Beautiful wish. Our episode was packed with wisdom, inspiration, and actionable insights on how neurodiversity can truly be a game changer, right, for many people, also in business and society. I'm sure your powerful message will leave our audience thinking about how we all together, tribe, like you said, can do our part in creating a more inclusive world.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again. Like I said, now tribe. So after I push the button at the end of recording, so immediately I would like really to connect you guys, because I already see how you can do even more long-lasting impact for our tribe, and actually for our global tribe, right? So thank you so much. I hope one day we can meet. We can maybe Stanford, right? Why not? I hope that they also will give me opportunity to amplify my voice one day.
Exactly.
And I wish you much luck with your PhD, and I will be very happy to start, because now, like I said, in my PhD I also implement one chapter about that. So it's always nice to to share our knowledge. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you. And so much luck for your all neurodivergent family. I mean, like both home, private, and your bigger one, your bigger tribe.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Okay.